This Saturday, thousands of people, including loving parents, relatives, and friends, will gather at Soldier Field in support of people with autism. The goal of the Chicago Autism Speaks Walk is to raise money, enhance the lives of people living on the spectrum, and fund autism research. Well, here in the studio with us this morning is Cheva Ramos and her son Romulus. They've come here to talk about the importance of next weekend's walk. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Suzanne.
Thank you both for coming in. Good morning. So first off, the numbers have changed so drastically. In the break we were talking about just a few years ago, I remember 1 out of 144 children diagnosed with autism. Now we're hearing 1 in 59?
Yeah, the numbers are astounding. Back when Romulus was diagnosed, it was 1 in 110. And just a couple months ago, it was 1 in 68. And just on April 26th, the CDC released a new prevalence, and it's 1 in 59. That doesn't sound like a big jump from 1 in 68 to 1 in 59, but it's actually a 15% increase. And that's
amazing.
It is.
And then the gender gap as well, and ethnic gap decreasing. Tell us about that.
Well, the gender gap, I think before it was 4.5 to 1 of the girls, and now it increased to 4. And the reason being is I think they're able to diagnose a little better and notice some of the symptoms in some of the women. Yes, that also has a big impact on when the child is diagnosed.
Now, Romulus, tell me, how is it living with autism? How has your life been?
It's fairly normal for the most part. I mean, I haven't felt any major changes in my life. I mean, sometimes I go to special ed classes in my school, to, learn how to communicate better.
And for you, tell us about the journey being the mother of someone with autism and some of the things that you've had to go through. I'm sure that at times there's been some struggles, especially early on with the diagnosis and trying to see what was happening with your child.
Oh my God, I admire the parents who received a diagnosis years ago, because there's so much more right now, so many more tools and help that you can get, so much more resources. When Romulus was diagnosed, I was terrified. I didn't know what to do, and thank God I came across Autism Speaks. For those people who have just received a diagnosis, I really suggest that you visit autismspeaks.org. There's lots of resources out there, and you're not alone.
So, having heard you say that, what do you feel people will be able to experience if they take part in this walk firsthand next weekend?
Oh my God, it's a place where you belong. When you first have the diagnosis, you feel you're isolated. It's 1 in 59, and you see all the children doing different activities, and your child seems to stand out because he's a little different. And when you go to the Autism Speaks Walk, the experience we had there, we just felt like we belonged. We were part of a big family, and it became a community. And for the last 11 years, we've been participating in that, and it's just normal to us. That's what we do.
Now, you mentioned the resources. Tell me, for you personally, what was one of the resources that stood out and helped you the most?
One of the biggest resources was the first 100-day kit. When you receive that diagnosis, having something that helps you step by step, because you're lost and you're still processing that diagnosis, and being able to have that step-by-step guide really helps out.
Fantastic. Well, Cheva, again, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your personal journey. And Romulus, thank you for coming in and being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. And you can take part in the Autism Speaks Walk this Saturday, May 12th at Soldier Field. Registration begins at 8 o'clock in the morning. A link to all of the resources available through Autism Speaks will be on our website at cbschicago.com a little later on this morning.